Hello, everyone, and welcome to microbiology. Thank you so much for joining me. This course is going to introduce you to some very interesting topics that I hope you enjoy. First, here's a little bit about myself. That's me in the middle, the overly ecstatic student researcher studying the algal food pyramids in the Arctic of Alaska. Now I do biofuels research at Arizona State University, mostly working on my dissertation at this point. My research involves sweet little bacteria that can photosynthesize and capture CO2. I work at genetically engineering and or optimizing their growth conditions so that they can direct their energy and CO2 that they capture from the air into making products that are industrially relevant to us humans. Here is an experiment of these wee little beasties being grown under LEDs in the background with CO2 supplemented air being fed through tubes so you can see the top down into the liquid culture. These strains are exceptional in producing biofuels. And here they can be scaled up and grown on one of our rooftops of ASU. And at the Polytechnic campus, they grow them in large pools or vats. And after the growing is done, the biofuels can be separated from the liquid culture and usually useful as jet fuel. And then the leftover biomass can then be converted to other industrially relevant products. I've always been passionate about science education, cats, and now I am a father of a 1-year-old daughter. But I also have an assortment of many other members in the family as well. Now, you're going to learn a lot in this course, but it will come with a lot of effort on your part. The course is all online and is 4 credit hours, including the lab portion. So you will need to review your schedules and be sure that you can assign at least 4 hours on in seat time or time where you are watching lectures or reading materials associated with the lab and lecture, and 8 hours on homework per week. We'll go over this in more detail in a moment. Across the board at different universities and community colleges, it's required for you to spend 2 to 3 hours of independent study time per credit hour per week. Independent study time is time that you spend doing your own studying outside of lecturing or lab presentations or in person lab content. So, Bio 205 is a 4 credit hour course, and therefore we're looking at spending 8 to 12 hours per week on independent study. Now, if we look at the instructional time, this is an online course as well, so we don't have any lectures or labs in person. So instead of being in person for lab and lecture for 5 hours a week, a little bit more, you will be doing that at home as well. So in total, expect to commit 13 to 17 hours per week to be successful in this course. Here is a time structuring plan that I've put together that students have found very helpful. So all of our assignments basically will be due on Monday. And so let's start with just week one here. Week one, maybe you'll spend an hour and a half on the first Monday of the week just watching the lecture through. The lectures are about 1 hour long, so that shouldn't be a problem. And then Tuesday, you rewatch the lecture. Things that aren't sticking or you're struggling with remembering, you want to take notes at this point. If you take lecture notes on the first day of lecture, you'll end up writing nearly everything I say down and then just rewriting an entire lecture. And that's going to take a lot of time. But doing it this way, you get 2 repetitions in on the lecture, and then you're taking more succinct notes, which is more efficient use of your own time and improves memory. On Wednesday, you're going to start working on your assignments. So, work on those checkpoint questions on the lab, so on and so forth, and really commit to studying your notes. I recommend note cards where you can have a vocabulary word or concept, and then the answer on the other side of the note card or on the other side of the page. And then you can basically make mini quizzes for yourself, and then when you get something down packed, maybe you can indicate that you're good there, and you can focus and consolidate your efforts on areas that you're struggling with even more. Wednesday, now you've gone through the study material quite a bit. You've looked at the assignments. So, therefore, if there's anything that's still troubling you after all of your efforts on the first 3 days, you know, hey, it's time to reach out to the professor with questions. Maybe you send me a message for a simple question. Maybe you say, hey, this is a little bit bigger of a problem. I don't think I'm going to understand it through email. Let me schedule some office hours with him on Friday. So you might schedule a office hour appointment. Shoot me an email or a Canvas message. Let me know what time you'd like to meet during my office hours listed in the syllabus, and we'll work out a time to go over things. Thursday, you have another couple hours to study. Um, that's quite a bit of repetition. Now we have 4 days where you've looked at the lecture material, and this is really going to build into a long-term memory. This is called spaced repetition, and this has been shown time and time again through research to be much more effective for you. So the benefit to you is that with less effort, you're going to remember more, and you're going to remember it for longer. Friday, you're going to do some more studying, maybe meet me for office hours. And now you've really clocked in a lot of time into this week's lecture. Saturday, you can finish up any lingering studying you need to do so that you have that material down packed, and submit any lingering homework left over that maybe you couldn't complete without my assistance, or you didn't quite have time on Wednesday to wrap up. What's beautiful about this is now we get to take Sunday off. The material isn't technically due until Monday. So let's say you have a hang up on Saturday. You have the ability to get in contact with me and schedule some more time on Monday if there's any other issues or any technical issues, and we can get those worked out. And this really sets you up for success. I have many students who start working on the material on Sunday, which is the day which I have as a blank day here. If you start working on Sunday or maybe even Monday, the day it's due, you haven't done any work. The day of Monday is really just for you to turn in your assignments and show what you know. But all of the practice comes from the week before. If you were to play a sport, you wouldn't expect to just show up on the game night on Monday and play ball. um, you would want to spend that entire week practicing and honing in your skill. And that's what you're doing here with me in this class, is you're trying to hone in on your educational skills so that you can carry them throughout your life. So keep your goals in mind here, and decide what matters to you in this pivotal moment in your life. And I highly recommend having a schedule and keeping to it, something like this. And why is it so important to work hard in this class? Well, I can't speak for all of you, but I know a lot of you will be going to some sort of allied health program. And most of you, probably the most common answer here is going to be I want to be a nurse. So I pulled the standards for getting into nursing school from the three top universities. So, Northern Arizona University, for applications, the minimum grade point average is a 3.0 on a 4.0 scale in prerequisite courses. That's the minimum. That does not guarantee admission into the program. Most successful applicants on their website, they say, have far higher than a GPA of 3.0, and that's a B. The University of Arizona gives a little bit more detail. The prerequisite is 3.0, although the average is 3.9, and a GPAs and everything. And so their lowest admission was a 3.57. And so, and the average on the HESI is a 93%. And so, not only do you have to pass these classes, but you actually have to carry that over and be able to apply it to the HESI admission assessment. Arizona State University. Their admission, their GPA competency courses requirements are a 3.80. Um, and that's no joke either. That is very, very high. That's in excess of B plus, basically. So what we want to do is make sure that a class like this is not holding you back, but making sure that it's a spotlight that showcases your ability to be a good student, get good grades. And this class, um, maybe more than prior classes you've taken, is going to help you be successful on your entrance exams. Now, how to contact me. You can contact me through a Scottsdale email, but policy at the college is to send all communications through Canvas. Canvas has a messaging system, and that's the system that I will be using to reach out to you. Sometimes there might be issues with the system, though, so you are required to check your Scottsdale email regularly. I recommend checking it daily. You can easily check your email by going to the student portal and then click on student email on the right hand side. The required materials here for this course, we do have a textbook. It's called OpenStax Microbiology. It's for free. You can go to this website and use it without charge. We do have to put something down for the course when you register for it, but I can't change that. But I can tell you that you don't have to purchase the book, and moreover, all of the material I try to provide through the course itself, so you don't have to worry about studying straight from the book. Focus mainly on the lectures and the materials I provide under the learning modules. It will require the use of Google Cloud products such as Google Docs, PowerPoint, so on and so forth, or Microsoft 365 products. I can't open Apple images, so don't send me an HEIC image ever or the like. I'll just send it back to you, and then you'll have to redo it all entirely using preferably Microsoft products. Our meetings, if you do sign up for office hours, I do them through Zoom. So you will need a Zoom account. They are free. I can send you directions on how to install it. It's pretty easy. The exams are going to be done through Respondus. I'll talk about more of that later. And we will have one lab that where you will clone your own bacterium through a program called SnapGene. It's a temporary short free trial, so don't install it now. Don't worry about it. We'll get to that installation process when we get to that lab. We don't want your free trial to expire. And you will need a computer that allows you to access and use these tools. So oftentimes students may have a work computer. A work computer, more often than not, is not going to let you download SnapGene onto or Respondus onto the computer. So you're going to need a personal computer. A tablet is not going to work. So you need to have either a laptop or a desktop in order to do this course. If you do not, you need to get with IT and order a loan immediately, and so that you can have access to it before they run out of computers. I've heard of that happening in the past. Exams focus on concepts developed in the previous unit of lecture and labs. So unit 1 exam will be based on anything in the unit 1 learning module for the lecture, or anything in the unit 1 learning module for the lab. They're going to include multiple choice, matching, fill in the blank. There may be some essay or problem solving questions as well. And students for all questions must write in complete sentences using correct grammar and usage of the English language. Um, Enough said there. Exams will be available for a 3-day window. So anyone should be able to take the exam. If you've got something coming up where you can't make it on the final day, that's what the first 2 days are for. I don't want to hear from students that they can't take the exam because they have a doctor's appointment coming up later, but they didn't they already knew that and they didn't want to take it earlier in the week. So you should be prepared to take it on any one of those 3 days. If there is a emergency doctor's appointment, yes, that is completely understandable. Just let me know. We'll work it out and we'll arrange for you to take it at another time. Um, so you can have makeup exams, but they're going to require official notices such as a doctor's note, court summons, etc. Going on vacation, traveling, um, attending some ceremony or other, those are not official um, uh, excuses for missing an exam. We're going to be using Respondus Lockdown Monitor browser for taking the exams. This basically locks down your computer. You use it within Canvas itself. This software is going to require three things: a laptop, a microphone, and a camera. It is a student's responsibility to have all three of those things. It could be a desktop as well. And that camera needs to be able to be mobile. So if it's fixed on the wall, it's not going to work. You're going to have to get another camera because you have to do a 360 view of the entire room, of the environment, as they call it. This course will require the use of the software. So you will have a download link that you can use provided through our course, and you'll have a quiz that you take. So there'll be instructions in the quiz on how to download Respondus, and then you'll take the quiz of the first this semester in order to demonstrate that you've downloaded the program correctly and that you're doing your environmental check and everything else correctly in preparation for the exam. If you decline to use Lockdown Monitor, that's fine. You still have to take the exams. You won't be taking them at home, though. You will be taking them at the testing center. So just let me know at the very beginning of the semester. We'll set up those accommodations and you can be able to take them in person. There are 12 lab experiments. You can see the lab schedule for topics and due dates. There's one library project worth 80 points. It's a writing assignment that you do on a disease. Um, we'll discuss that later on in the semester. You don't want to get a jump on it until we've completed our library lab first so that you know how to conduct it properly. There are 4 combined lab and lecture exams. Again, Unit 1 will have a lecture component and a lab component. Questions could be based on the lecture or the exam, or the lab. They're worth 100 points each. They are closed note, closed to the outside internet, to friends, so on and so forth. No outside sources are permitted for the exam. You have to show what you know here. There are checkpoint questions. Checkpoint questions are embedded within each recorded lecture. Um, these checkpoint questions are kind of like my online course's version of participation points. So these demonstrate that you were there during the week, you participated in the lecture, and you got the checkpoint questions. So if you didn't complete the checkpoint questions, with an official documented excuse or not, you cannot. There will be no makeups for that. They're only worth 5 points a piece each one. So if you miss one, it's not the hugest deal in the world. But with participation points, you have to be there to get them. And it's set up a little bit differently than what you've probably experienced in the past. The questions are only found there; they're not rewritten when you submit them. So watch the lecture. You're going to write or type each question out and then, create your answer there to submit later on. You'll find the corresponding checkpoint question assignment in Canvas under the current unit. So you'll see for chapter 1, there's going to be a chapter 1 checkpoint questions submission location. And then the questions, when you open up that submission in Canvas, they're not going to be rewritten. Again, you got them from the lecture, but that's just where you submit your answers. This is what it will look like. So when you open up Canvas, you go to submit for chapter 1. You'll see that it explains to you that you need to go back and watch the lecture video to get the questions. Here you're just submitting the answers. So for question 1, did you decide it's going to be A, B, C, or D? And you click which one you want it to be, and then you move on. There is still attendance in the course. You are expected to stay current with a weekly lecture and lab content, and complete all assignments on time. Uh, you can miss up to 2 labs maximum, but labs are an essential component of a science course. And so if you miss 3 labs, excuse or not, you will receive a failing grade for the course. Exams have a 3-day time window to complete them. You're expected to take the exam within that given time. They won't be opened up earlier or later. Um, and labs will be closed after the due date and only reopened with instructor permission. And they can be submitted late up to 1 week after the due date, but you will receive 10 points deduction each day that they're late out of the total points possible. All written assignments, including exams, will be screened for plagiarism software. Plagiarism will not be tolerated. Everything must be written in your own words. It's the only way for me to tell that you know the information that you're providing to me. Do not Google answers to questions. Um, there are some, you can get incorrect answers on the internet, or maybe they're using a different set of definitions that may not necessarily be incorrect, but they're going to be incorrect in this classroom. And what we want you to do is use the textbook and the lecture materials for this class. A first infraction for academic integrity is going to be a 0 score on your assignment, and the second infraction will be a failure due to academic dishonesty. Here's an example of writing what writing in your own words is not. So the question is, what is environmental science? Britannica.com's answer is environmental science is an interdisciplinary academic field that draws on ecology, geology, meteorology, biology, chemistry, engineering, and physics to study environmental problems and human impacts on the environment. So the student's answer, well, the student took that answer and they tried to change a few words to make it sound like it came from them. So they added some pronouns in the beginning. They said it is the interdisciplinary field. They rearranged the list there. Um, and for all intents and purposes, this sentence remained the same, just some minor changes in the sentence structure. That is not in your own words. And I can't tell if this student knows the answer because they can't show that they know the answer. And this would be flagged as plagiarism. Something more appropriate would be the following answer. Environmental science is the study of the biotic and abiotic components of the environment. That means living and non-living, and how they interact with one another. To do so, it combines the fields of many sciences such as biology, physics, geography, oceanography, etc. So clearly it's a different list here. They probably got that list from the textbook. Um, they have a better definition here of what environmental science is, and they're not just nearly copying word for word from Britannica.com. If you have special circumstances, please alert me today as soon as possible. You need to have them as registered accommodations, or else I cannot provide you with accommodations. So please, let's get that taken care of as soon as possible. I have a few tips here for improving learning for the course. One, attend office hours on a weekly or regular basis. Again, you have to do so 24 hours in advance. Just send me a message saying I'd like to schedule at this time and this date, Monday or Friday, and then I will get back to you if that appointment's available. If not, I might recommend a different time on that date. I recommend that you review the last lecture's PowerPoint or notes before continuing to the following lecture. It's always a good habit to do so that everything that you've learned prior to that lecture is fresh in your mind. This course is going to build on top of itself. You're going to learn about the cell, you're going to learn about how the cell functions, you're going to learn about metabolism, then you're going to learn about genetics, then you're going to learn about diseases, so on and so forth. So these ideas build on top of each other. Next, become an active learner. The active learners are the best performers in my class. So students who reach out to me ask me questions. There are no dumb questions. As long as you learn something from it, you've accomplished something there. And then maybe just as importantly is answer questions. So as you go through the video, you want to make sure that you're actively listening to the video and really paying attention and not just spacing out. I can do that as well. It's really easy to kind of let yourself get a little slack in your mind in the middle of a long video like that. So pause it, interject the video, ask yourself some questions about the content, and see how well you're coming along in your understanding. And again, I'm going to harp on this again, develop consistent daily studying habits. And during those times of studying, try to avoid distractions like eating, playing on social media, streaming services while studying, etc. Try not to multitask, essentially. And then I also recommend to listen to the lectures first, at least a couple of times, then take notes on whatever isn't sticking. And again, I'm a big advocate for 3x5 note cards for memorization. There's going to be a ton of memorization in this class. You can keep them with you at all times on the go. They're a lot more handy than having a note card or it just written down on your computer at home or typed down. So, first week to do list. First, if you have any questions, contact me through Canvas or sign up for office hours. There is an introduction discussion. Everyone needs to get this done this week. It's so important. That's how I mark that you've attended for this first week of class. Then you'll be completing chapter 1 and chapter 2 lectures and jot down your answers to the checkpoint questions as you go along and then submit them on Canvas. Due dates for checkpoint questions are the following. It's actually Monday of each week, and this is regardless of holidays. But take a look at the schedule to get more information there. And then you need to complete the Respondus Lockdown Monitor quiz. That's all under Module 1. So that is the first to-do list here. Now, that's pretty much it that I have here. So I'll go ahead and let all of you get started. Again, contact me if you have any further questions. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.